Sunday evening, April 14, 1912. Under the command of Captain Edward J. Smith, Titanic is just past the midpoint of her journey to New York. Steaming at nearly full speed, she's scheduled to arrive on time Wednesday morning at White Star's Pier 59 along Manhattan's west side. 9 other ships are also traversing the North Atlantic, heading west and east along the same shipping lanes. But just south of the Grand Banks, the ice field looms, 4 miles wide and extending north and south as far as the eye can see. As each ship hits the danger zone, they sound the alarm.
Wireless messages were sent by ships who were traveling in the same waters, and they were alerting each other to potential risks. They thought it was dangerous, and they let the other ships know around them. We know the Titanic received these messages. We know they acknowledged some of these messages too. It should have been taken seriously.
The Marconi messages not only reveal where the ice is, they also contain important details on how big and dangerous the icebergs are. Kristen Seremgard is the commander of the International Ice Patrol. She's familiar with the types of icebergs the ships might have reported.
There's flows formed from frozen seawater. There's a growler, which is about the size of a piano, and then all the way up to what we call a very large iceberg is over 200 meters.
In Titanic's day, just like now, hitting an iceberg could rip a ship apart and endanger the passengers. A fact that wasn't lost on Lord Mersey in his black box. Inside his journal, Mersey hones in on 2 specific ice warnings that reached Titanic. 2 vessels informed her: icebergs, growlers, flows.
Lord Mersey drew some images, things that the Titanic clearly would have passed on its way to the big monster iceberg. That also should have given the Titanic some pause. It would have warned them that things were getting bad.
Lord Mersey also scribbles down that the temperatures were falling, and that this to indicate ice. And then, finally, and perhaps most crucially, he notes and underlines no reduction of speed.
This was obviously very significant for him. Quite understandably, he was asking the question, why didn't they slow down?
If we didn't have this journal, we wouldn't have known that Lord Mersey was taking in all this information and clearly recognized the problems. It was getting more and more towards criminal negligence in this case.
Historians have spent countless hours deliberating this question. Why didn't Captain Smith slow down? One theory centers around the behavior of one of Titanic's most influential passengers, J. Bruce Ismay.
Ismay was the chair of the White Star Line. It was his role to run it and grow it into the 20th century.
On White Star's pride and joy, Ismay reigned supreme, hobnobbing with wealthy passengers and keeping tabs on Captain Smith and his crew. Ismay is on deck around 2 p.m. when Titanic receives an ice warning from the Baltic, another White Star-owned ship about 230 miles to the east. What happens next would give fodder to a century of conspiracy theorists. And it's a moment Lord Mersey also focuses on.
There was a paper-written Marconigram delivered to Captain Smith that he showed to Bruce Ismay, that Bruce Ismay took, stuck into his pocket.
Why did Captain Smith give Bruce Ismay the telegram?
Mersey references Ismay's own testimony from the British inquiry.
On page 222, Ismay underlined, Captain handed me the Baltic message, which Ismay held on to for a while. So this is obviously quite significant for Lord Mersey.
Why would Ismay have stuck it in his pocket? Was there something he didn't want the bridge crew to see? Did he not want them to slow down?
You didn't want the Titanic to be late. The press would be waiting on the docks, people would be there waiting. There have been theories that Ismay was keener to get there on time than to get there safely.
Captain Smith asked Ismay for the ice warning back that Sunday evening so that he could put it in the chart room.
The Baltic message is posted alongside the 6 other ice warnings received throughout the day. Then, at 9:20 p.m., Captain Smith heads to his cabin to go to sleep, handing command to his senior officers.
The North Atlantic was extremely calm as they went into sundown and into the night. That made it more difficult to find the iceberg. You can't see it.
If it's very calm out, there's no waves breaking on the edges of the iceberg, you're not going to even see that it's there.
The lookouts are above the canvas dodger of the lookout's nest. Their face is being whipped by a 25-mile-an-hour cold wind, which inevitably could cause tearing to take place, which in turn could hurt their vision.
At precisely 11:39 p.m., Crow's Nest lookout Frederick Fleet spots the gigantic dark mass. He strikes the lookout bell 3 times. Fleet lunges for the telephone, reaching 6th Officer James Moody on the bridge.
Iceberg! Dead ahead!
When you're traveling at 21 or 22 knots and you see iceberg dead ahead, there wasn't enough time to turn. It was already too late. The ship was doomed.
First Officer William McMaster Murdoch has less than 45 seconds to determine the fate of thousands.
He says, full to port. Murdoch signals the engine room. Ring, ring, ring.
But by the time Murdoch makes his desperate maneuver, the iceberg is already on them. At reportedly 60 feet high, it's even with Titanic's Crow's Nest. And its estimated 400-foot length is greater than a football field. Scientists say it could have weighed up to 1.5 million tons, the equivalent of 15 fully loaded aircraft carriers. The iceberg packs the punch of a granite mountain.
When you compress carbon under pressure, you get this very strong diamond. And that's kind of the similar concept of compressing the fresh water into a glacier that forms an iceberg. Dense glacial ice has a much higher probability of causing significant damage to a ship.
At 11:40 p.m., Titanic makes contact. The iceberg scrapes along her starboard side for 8 seconds, gouging the double-plated steel hull.
The collision takes place, opening its side to the iceberg so it can cut into it like a tin of sardines.
The forward compartment, 3 cargo holds, and 2 engine rooms are blown open, and the frigid sea pours in.